Hello everybody, it's Dio from Firm But Fair Gaming bringing you another video. Enjoying all the videos and content we produce, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, click on that like button, and don't be afraid to share. Don't forget to click on the notification button, customize it however you want, but that way you're notified whenever we publish another video. Hello everyone, welcome to another Diablo 3 video here in Season 27. Today we're going to showcase the wizard, so we are going to be looking at the Tal Rasha's grass build. Just for those that are unfamiliar, basically this is going to be like a meteor build, so when the two-piece bonuses damaging enemies with arcane, cold, fire, or lightning will grant immunity to that element and cause a meteor of the same type to fall from the sky. This only occurs if the wizard has meteor on their action bar, which we will. And the same meteor cannot happen twice in a row. Then our 4 pieces, arcane, cold, fire, and lightning attacks each increase all your resistances by 100% for 8 seconds. Attacking with meteor reduces the cooldown of teleport by 1 second. Then lastly, 6 pieces attacks increase your damage by 2000% for 8 seconds. And then arcane, cold, fire, lightning attacks each add 1 stack, and at 4 stacks each different elemental attack extends the duration by 2 seconds up to max of 8. Man, that's a lot of reading for set bonuses. But enough about that. Let's take you through some gameplay, show you what the build looks like. It's actually a lot of fun. Okay, here we go. So we're going to put up our defenses and then just start going to work. So the black hole that I just threw out there, every enemy that gets stuck in it is going to give us a small damage boost for our signature spell, our meteor in cold there. So I'm trying to use that in advance of when we're going to go in our cold cycle. We're using the COE, so the cold cycle is off after the arcane. I think I might have to focus a little bit here. This is actually one of my favorite range builds so far. Some of them feel a little bit foreign. This one I actually don't mind. Actually, not too bad. It's more in sync with what I want to see. Okay, there we go. We are a little squishy, which is why I'm kind of dancing around to the outside. And then we're just going to make meteors fall all over the place. Throw the black hole. There's no point trying to get another black hole off before the previous one expires, before we lose that bonus, because it's a single charge that's just based off however many mobs it brings in that one particular cast. I'm just trying to go through here, not really digging the map. I wish I had it recorded a little bit earlier. I had like so much fun on like a festering, and like the big open maps are just so much more fun than in these tight quarters. But it's got pretty good damage potential. My gear is not augmented, so I'm just in a 110 here. No augments, no real ancient items, I don't believe. Oops, I accidentally used my pot there when I shouldn't have. But it is pretty solid. I did do a 110 earlier in like 4 minutes when I was messing around. It's got good for speeds with the, because it definitely has a one-shot, easy one-shot potential for like map clearing as you spam the ability all over the place. Oh, let's stop standing in that stuff. There we go. Let's get to the shield pylon. Throw the meteor. The black hole, and now we're into a cold cycle and just obliterated everything right there. Backtrack and gets our orbs. So it does have really good potential. It's the top wizard build right now. I'm having trouble talking and clicking as much as I'm clicking. It is pretty click intensive, just because you can spam the crap out of the meteors. So all this damage that we just did was actually off a cold cycle. Now we're on the cold. Just gonna obliterate that guy, finish off that pack, keep going forward. I didn't even have the black hole off for the bonus, so there we get only pulled in 4. ideally, like with a nice open map, we're going to be able to get so much more off our black holes. So here, let's just throw that in there. Got a nice little 10 stack into the fire. Unfortunately, I wish this was cold, but it's still going to do pretty good at just destroying this guy. Just like that. Maybe we'll get lucky here on this next map and we'll get a nice open one. I mean, it's not the worst. What do we get there? We got 23. Oh, wow. That would be nice. Let's see if we can find an elite for the... Oh, there's one in there somewhere. Oh, but I went and recasted my meteor like a fool. I could have kept that going for the 23 and then I recast it just out of habit. And then we're going to recast. Got the power. I mean, this guy's just going to get absolutely demolished. Of all the range type builds that use Zais, this is my favorite. It's just fun watching death fall from the sky. Alright, let's try to get some stacks in because we're at 89. So when we face the Guardian, we're going to have some. My shield is obviously off now. So we got just 6. We're just... Oh no, I was standing in poison like a fool. Ah, that makes me sad. That's alright. Need better aim with the meteors I missed there. But as we just saw off screen, it's just like that. So there is lots of damage potential in this build. A little squishy as you've seen, but it is a lot of fun. Personally, one of my favorites. The black hole has a nice grouping mechanic, which will let you just stay at range and you can just fill up the whole sky with meteors. A lot of fun. So that just shows you how the build looks. Now let's go over all the pieces you need and the skill set and all that stuff to pull this off. So let's take a look at the items that we need for this build. So we are wearing 5 pieces of the Tal Rasha set. So we are wearing the helmet, chest, gloves, belt, and pants. So because we're only wearing 5 pieces, we're obviously wearing the Ring of Rail Grandeur. And then we're also going to be using 2 pieces of the All Guilds Authority. So just a reminder, the 2-piece bonus for this is reduce damage taken by 15% and increase the damage we deal by 30. And the 3 pieces reduce damage from elites by 30% and increase damage against elites by 30%. So we're going to be using those 2 pieces, also getting the benefit from the Ring of Royal Grandeur. And then for our jewelry, we're wearing Scorched Necklace. So while not taking damage, damage dealt is increased by up to 100%, and damage taken is increased by up to 50%. So down here we can see our Scorched bonus. So this is where each stack is 10%. And then for our jewelry, we are wearing Halo of Karini. I probably butchered that. So the bonus here is you take up to 80% less damage for 5 seconds after your storm armor electrocutes an enemy more than 15 yards away. I actually noticed I wasn't wearing this in my gameplay, so if I had had this, I would have been even more tanky. So that was a little bit of my survivability issues. So now that I have this, it would be quite easy, like you're going to be a lot tankier. And then our other gem is the Convention of Elements that I mentioned in the gameplay. So gain up to 200% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. So this rotates like through fire, cold, arcane, lightning, physical. So down here we can see that. And just for rotation purposes, cold follows arcane, just so you know. So that was arcane, and then there's our cold. And then for our boots, we are using Nilfur's Boast, so increase the damage of meteor by 600%. And when your meteor hits 3 or fewer enemies, the damage is increased by up to 900%. So mine is only 686, obviously very terrible, so I'll need a new pair of boots there for this build. And then lastly, we're using the Grand Vizier for the weapon. So its unique affix is it reduces the arcane power cost of meteor by 50% and increases its damage by 400%. For our sanctified affix, we're going with storm armor. Oh my goodness, I could not talk there. Charges over 30 seconds and casting it again at full charge releases a powerful thunderbolt, instantly killing a random enemy within 30 yards. Bosses and elites are not killed but take significant damage. For our legendary gems, we are using Bane of the Trap. So it increases damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by a certain percentage. And then rank 25, we gain an aura that reduces the movement speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%, thus creating the effect that we're going to get the bonus damage from. We are also using Zai Stone of Vengeance, so damage you deal is increased by a certain percent, and then for every 10 yards between you and the enemy up to a max of 50 yards, it would amplify the damage. So here at rank 80, we get 10% damage, and then at rank 50 yards, we would have 52% damage. And then at rank 25, we gain a 20% chance on hit to stun the enemy for 1 second. Then lastly, we're using Bane of the Stricken, so each attack we make against an enemy increases the damage it takes by a certain percent. And then at rank 25, it increases, or we gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. For Kanai's Cube, we are using the Smoldering Cores, so lesser enemies are now lured to your meteor impact areas, and meteors deal 50% increased damage on consecutive hits to the same target, and this stacks up to 10 times. We are using Meepo of Twilight for the armor, so Meteor Shower Rune is now applied to all cast meteors and deal 400% more damage. And then lastly, as mentioned, we are using the Ring of Royal Grandeur, so it reduces the number of items needed for set bonuses by 1. Lastly here, let's go over the skills that I was using in the build. So I was using Black Hole with absolute zeros, so just going to conjure a black hole and it draws enemies to it and deals damage. And then for each enemy hit, it increases the damage of our cold spells for a short duration. So that was that buff I was talking about. We're using Meteor with Comet. So it just summons a comet that freezes chilled enemies on impact. And the impact site is covered in an icy mist that damages and chills enemies. For our familiar, we are using Sparkflint. So summon a fiery familiar, and it is immune to damage and assists you in combat. And while the familiar is active, you gain increased damage. For a bit of a defensive or teleport, we're using Calamity. So basically after we teleport, we cast a short range wave of force that stuns after teleporting. So a little bit of survivability there. For our storm armor, I'm just having trouble saying storm today. Surround yourself with a magical storm that electrocutes enemies with lightning, reduces the arcane power cost of all skills while it's active. And then lastly, our magic weapon, we're using Conduit. So imbue your weapon with magical energy, increasing your weapon's effectiveness. Enemies hit by your attacks restore arcane power. So it basically is going to keep us at full, so we can just spam our meteor as often as we want. For our passes, we're using Blurs, so it decreases damage taken by 17%. Elemental Exposure, damaging enemies with arcane, cold, fire, or lightning will cause them to take 5% more damage from your attacks for 5 seconds. Each different damage type applies a stack, stacking up to 4 times, so it's just going to give us a big damage boost. Galvanizing Ward, as long as you have not taken damage in the last 5 seconds, we gain a protective shield. So that's why we want to dance around the outside. And then Power Hungry, we deal 30% additional damage to enemies further than 30 yards. So that's again why we want to stay to the outside at range. We're going to get the bonus from that and from Zai's, and it's just wonderful. So this brings us to the end of the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer those. As always, we appreciate likes, shares, and subscribes. So please click those buttons. And also you can come find us on Twitch. I'll be streaming on Thursdays and Saturdays. So come check it out. Come hang out. Let's run some keys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this build. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. As one of the ranged builds go, I think this one is just tons and tons of fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you on Twitch, and also see you in the next video.